Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review The Reader. And I saw this film quite a while ago, and I really connected with this film and thought it was very intriguing, and I don't know what was about it, and it just hit very deeply and emotionally with me, and I was very interested to check out the book, which is by Bernhard Schlink, and focuses on a young man named Michael Berg who falls in love with this woman who's much older than him, and all of a sudden she disappears, and then he sees her later in life being put on trial for things that she did in her past. And the connection that they have that is very unique and not something that you see all the time really stands out and is something special. This book is told in 3 parts. And, each of these chapters are like 3 to 5 pages. So they're like short bursts. This is 2 hours to like 215 pages. It's a pretty brisk read. And there's something about how Schlink writes in terms of how all these emotions are portrayed. And it's all through Michael's perspective. He is our narrator. We're inside his head. And each part of like him as a young man having this affair, him like in college age, seeing the woman that he had this connection with those years ago on trial. And then in the 3rd section, them reconnecting later in life. And you have this story with plenty of twists and turns, some of which are deeply emotional and hit very hard. And it's very intriguing how these 2 characters, with so much complexity between them, like you have a book that's balancing a love story that is not your typical love story, that's also dealing with the aftermath of like the Holocaust and stuff like that. This is something that really has a tightrope of tone and emotion that it has to balance, and Schlink does such a fantastic job in his writing because the love making is done in a very matter-of-fact but intense way. It's written that way. There isn't anything that's like flowery and cheesy about it. It's very real and raw. And all of the stories and plot threads and narrative beats are that tone. It is intense. It is serious. It has deeply resonant emotions to it. You have Michael Berg, who is a young man who is challenged with this connection that he has with this older woman, and then having to go through his life trying to get over this unbelievable connection. And the Schlink is able to detail this connection in such a vivid way with his writing, between like the smells and the stares and the touching and everything that they do, and how he can't break free of it. It's there. It's deeply entrenched in him. And then you have Hannah Schmitz, this Frau who comes into this young man's life, and the distance that she keeps, the complexity of her character, the unique perspective and set of rules that she lives by is something that makes her a unique character. And what they connect over with him reading to her is sweet and endearing, and also deeply resonant in the way that it builds this connection and how much it really means for Hannah. And the way their relationship evolves throughout the book is intriguing. It is something that you don't see every day in a romance. And there's intensity but subtlety. There's intensity in their relationship and how it's written, but it stops right at the point where it needs to without it getting too saucy or too just like trying borderline turning into like a smut book. This is serious, and it's emotional, and it's resonant, and it's mature. It's deeply rich in complex emotions. There's a lot of challenging decisions characters have to make in this film and rationalize them. There's this complex relationship at the core, and overall, Schlink is able to challenge his audience with this book, with this story, as it takes its turns down, like all around, and it presents these characters who are connected in a very unique and powerful way, but also still being a challenging relationship that the audience has to process and really try to grasp what was going on with it and what it really meant all in the end. And this leaves you in an emotional and impactful place where the reader really does make a deep, just like sinks its teeth in and doesn't let you go over the course of the 215 pages that you read. This is definitely a special book. It's a special kind of romance that's serious and poignant and has a whole lot of layers to its relationships and its characters and the world that they live in. But those are my thoughts on The Reader. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some books. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.